Just that part, yeah.
I did go through and review a couple of the interviews as well. I'm not aware if there's more from when I reviewed them. Is the Excel sheet on that ticket?
I didn't see it on the task in ClickUp, and we don't want to show it here because this is a recorded public call. So we can share the link in our internal Discord. So if the other committee members agree that our goal is to have 2 reviews on each interview on each candidate, then Tex, I don't know if you have this information right now, how many candidates still need review if our goal is to have 2. If you don't have that number now, we can get that later. Tex, you've been muted.
I'm so sorry. It looks like we have 2 to 3 on most of the candidates. So, including my own feedback, it comes out to about 3+. I'm still double checking that. But I would say just take a look, and if there's anybody that you want to kind of look at things for, then go for it. If it's too much time, I think we should be okay. But yeah, I would say at least take a review to be familiar with it. And if you're concerned about somebody's notes, be that my own or another committee member, I mean, even feel free to kind of scrub through. The questions are asked in order in each interview. So in roughly 3 to 5 minute jumps, you could take out a if you had a concern, you could get through a 30-minute interview in about 7 to 10 minutes if you're just checking up on certain things. But again, if the committee has agreed that based on the feedback that's already existing that there's nothing else to do, then great. But I do just want to encourage everyone to at least be familiar with it. So at the very least, please do open the interviews doc and the application doc. I would say if we can get more participation on the application review and some scoring, that's a pretty lightweighted effort. It's not the same as an interview, and the more numbers that we have there, the better the average scoring is for who would be accepted or pushed to an interview. So
Thank you, Tex.
okay. I take it we'll probably move on from that particular topic. If you have additional questions, you can meet with me independently. Tooling proposal reviews. So this one here is going to be in the ClickUp. Right now, there's a deadline actually passed earlier this month for us to have funded 5 tooling projects. I don't want anyone to feel pressured as if we have to spend money. Obviously, I want to make sure that it's a matter of let's be spending in the right places. The first tool, of course, that was approved was back at the very end of January. It's the peer review document management tooling. It was originally positioned that that's going to be used for budget, but it looks like it's also going to be used for some civics goals as well, for the milestones that were submitted after the contract was signed or when the contract was signed. There is a copy of that in the Google Drive for you to review. But focus it back to other projects that may be eligible for funding here. They're in review under the form. So the form is called Tooling Intake Form. That's under Open Source Committee. So when you open that left sidebar, you can see it there. Once you're there, you navigate to list, and there are about 7 projects in the to-do column, which
You are showing this text. I'm sorry, we're not seeing it. I think you may be sharing a different tab.
I'm sharing a screen, but I'm sharing a screen, but I have to navigate to the place.
Sorry, I only see the February 26th subtasks right now.
Yeah, that's my screen. The thing is, if I go
So Sebastian,
to
if you go to the left side there,
Yeah.
and scroll down in that left column, there you go. You see tooling intake form?
okay,
Perfect. And then from here, you'll need to go to the top and click list.
yeah, okay,
So if you see here, the Plutonomicon YTXP lib library, Covenant library, Lambda buffers, TX village, those are a number of proposals that were submitted by MLabs, as you can see here. There are a couple others that have come through that have not yet been vetted. So we may be able to fund a number of these projects, but again, relative to the conversation we had earlier, are those critical and helpful to the ecosystem, and what other information might we need to define that answer? But again, we have funds essentially locked away because we haven't made a decision on these yet. So I would encourage an individual review so that we can call for decision in 2 weeks when we come back. And Jordan, I know you mentioned you'd be away that week. If you're unable to make the meeting, maybe you could leave your sentiments in Discord and we can state those in the meeting.
Sounds good. I'll also review the new applications. I applied for the MLabs one, so I prefer if some other committee member reviewed those, if possible.
So we can look to the 5 other voices with that disclosure of conflict of interest.
yeah. From my side, I have no problem checking the proposals.
Yeah.
Fine.
Agreed.
Brains.
Okay. Okay. Sebastian, if you don't mind to navigate back to the agenda there, or I can take over sharing if you prefer.
Yeah. I'm gonna stop sharing.
Okay. Okay. So next up on the agenda, and I apologize, I was the one to throw together this agenda this week. It was a short week, and I'm just trying to make sure that we still have agreement and get together as a committee, as I'll be away next week. So kind of make sure that you guys have some understanding of what can be done over the next 2 weeks so that we can keep things moving. Anyway, the next piece that I have on here is the comms channel discussion. So I had put out a poll in Discord there, and unfortunately it did not receive feedback from every member. Again, there's only 6 of you right now, so that's pretty easy to kind of track or see. I think we may have had a total of 4, so that's most of everybody. But I think there were 2 responses that said, hey, I can check into Discord daily. One said I could check every other day, essentially every 2 days. And then there was one request that said, hey, maybe we should look at a different tool. So I'm coming forth or bringing this up for discussion because it's obviously important for us to stay connected. I could absolutely manage 6 DMs if that's what we absolutely need to do. But I just want to understand how you all can work together as well. And Discord has been that given space for you all as of right now. The question is do we need to change that, or what else can we adjust or adapt that's going to pick up those conversations at least a little bit more often? Discord is also the tool for offline polling. And I try to set stuff out so that it's got a good timeline. A week is a lot, makes sense for a number of the polls, but if we can get polls down to something like 3 days, we can make decisions a little bit quicker to keep things moving. And again, we'll recite those at the next meeting after each poll. But kind of leave that as an open topic here. Does anyone want to share their thoughts on comms, improving comms? And this is, again, between committee members and myself.
This is Georg. I was the vote that said Discord is not my tool of choice. The committee work is the only thing that I have in Discord. I don't check it regularly. I check it regularly by a certain definition of regular. It's just not daily and maybe not even every other day. So I only go there because I'm on the committee and I know there are things happening there, and I just don't get to it every day. The channel that I use the most is email. Maybe you can call me old-fashioned, and I don't take it personal. So if there is an integration or daily summary via email, here's the things, I would be able to act on that. That's my personal way of working. All the other channels I'm not as active in. So, and I know Tex, as the chair, you know how to get a hold of me, and when you need me, I'll jump in and do things. So for me, we don't have to change anything. We can keep the no, Christian, thank you. No facts, please. So for me, we can keep it as is, and it just means it takes more than a day or two sometimes for me to respond in Discord, and if there's something urgent, Tex knows how to get a hold of me. That's my personal opinion.
Yeah, okay, go. Similar, but I would say, yeah, I think we had some discussion around this earlier and said the same. I'm not necessarily either the Discord person, but I have adapted in last 2 years well. And yeah, frequency sometimes can vary really, few times a day and sometimes maybe week past. So I would opt if I think I missed the poll, but I would have said, every other day I will make sure I check. And I also agree to work that we will continue with this tool. My challenge, I think, is not just Discord, is more wider, because we are using Discord in ClickUp, to then using Slack in TSC meeting. So there are so many tools we are using around, right? And keeping check on all those in addition to WhatsApp and Telegram and emails become quite daunting, right? But I would say and agree that a lot of things happen on Discord from the development technology perspective. So we should be comfortable here as well. So I will ensure that at least I check it once in 2 days. And we'll try to be respond there. And otherwise, I'm most active is on my channel is the WhatsApp basically. But I guess Tex, you have my WhatsApp number. So if anything urgent, that's the place to reach.
Okay. It's definitively some extra legwork from my side, and I'll kind of result to a committee consensus here. The question is would everyone be able to commit to once a week being able to check in on the various tools, or would it be better if, like, say, Friday morning, Friday midday, I were to send out a summary email of some of the discussions or active polls in Discord and some of the different tasks to take a look at and click up?
I think shouldn't edit more tasks to you. We know that you're working a lot, so I would not recommend that until you really want to do it. But yeah, based on some priority or urgencies, you time to time follow up anyway. But I won't recommend that we created this habit of like you have to do kind of policing around the committee for every week. I think that's kind of a little too much in my view.
I second what they said. I don't want to add that extra layer of work. Now, if there was a artificial intelligence tool that would create that summary and it's something that can be almost automated, then if it's low effort for you text, great. It would help me because I do check my email. I do read my email every day. But otherwise, I'll check in every other day or every 3 days or so on Discord and keep going as it is.
A little wary of the AI implementation as of right now, partially on the basis of having or finding the right tool, and then also the potential implications of private data being shared without proper checking. Again, I would check over stuff, but if the idea is for it to be quick and automated, I would have that as a concern or a risk. So I would say because the topic has been brought up, everyone kind of has an understanding of where we are for right now, and we will continue. If you get a message from me, please don't take it as I'm chasing you down or trying to micromanage you. It's just I'm trying to keep you in the loop of, hey, have you seen this? And so I'll work on my verbiage if there's any concerns that way, to ensure that they feel more lighthearted and just, hey, let's check in on this. So if that works for everybody, we'll kind of, again, continue like we are. I brought it up. Everyone knows to kind of take a look at it from here. Is that amicable? Does that work? Cool.
Thumbs up. Let's move on.
Okay. So the next tier, we have not talked about this in an open meeting here as of yet, but it is regarding budget questions and potentially having some sessions to work on the budget. I did request to meet with everybody individually. I think I've met with 3 of you, possibly a 4th. But I know that I have not met individually with each and every one of you to talk about the budget as of yet. And I was going that individual basis because I had a little bit of a different format. I wanted to hear just from the committee member perspective in a protected environment, what are your true thoughts on it? Having that individual synthesis, we can bring it back. Now everything has been, one-sided on this. Everyone's in agreement that the paid open source model, the programs that we're running, this is still core and crucial. And despite discussion on, I think one program in particular, the consensus so far is still to maintain all programs, but we'll just need to, verify the exact details. So I guess the question is if you, or the ask is, if you haven't met with me individually and you would like to share some thoughts in a protected environment, please schedule some time with me specifically for that. If there are no other questions, and what I've stated as the carrying motion here, essentially everyone's in agreement that we continue the same way, and essentially we would resubmit what we submitted in 2025 for future years, then we'll continue moving in that direction, but we should have a session to kind of refine what that looks like, numbers, timelines, things like that. So when would you guys like to have that session? Preferably sooner rather than later. But again, I am traveling next week, and then I know Jordan has the event the week after. So
Yeah, for me, the tomorrow is the best in that situation work. As I have dropped message, the next 2 weeks is not good for me either. I have some personal commitments, so next 2 weeks my availability will be very less or hardly any. So tomorrow, anyway possible, I'm around.
anybody else open to or available for a session to discuss the open source committee budget tomorrow?
I can make tomorrow work.
Yeah, tomorrow sounds good.
Reshma?
I had the
Sorry,
oh,
I'm sorry, I didn't hear. Can you tell that question again, please? Can you ask me again?
Yes. Are you okay to meet with the rest of the committee tomorrow to discuss budget?
Yes, okay, it's okay for me. We had a discussion individually with you once. So with all the committee members, we have to meet tomorrow. That's why you're asking.
That's the suggestion that's been put on the table. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. It's okay for me. What time will be tomorrow?
Looking at probably 3 p.m. UTC.
3 p.m. notice. Yeah, 3 p.m. notice.
That's 8:30
Yeah,
India time.
it's okay for me. Yeah,
Yeah,
8:30.
we'll manage that. Yeah.
8:30. Can you push 30 minutes after that?
Okay.
Like, is it okay?
I think that's fine. What about everybody else? 3:30 UTC.
Good.
but I was okay. Yeah. I can do. Yeah.
Okay. I will send out the invite after the meeting, so please bear with me that I don't have it right this second. Okay. So we will move that forward here. I had another recording that I got done with Andamio. This one will not be explicitly published, but it has been made available for the committee to review. The main course of discussion here is we were talking about Andamio essentially offered to create another website or touch point for us to bring on to onboard the maintainers. So as opposed to having them need to be reimbursed for funds, it's a way for OSC to appropriately sponsor the funds, sponsor the token for the platform, and it goes through a different piece there. So if you'd like to take a look at that, I recognize I may be a little bit vague. I encourage you to do so. If you are unfamiliar with the Andamio platform, have not seen the previous demo or anything of that nature, I encourage you to watch one or both recordings as it suits your time. This was mainly a mention that was available, but I'm happy to take any questions if there are questions as far as the usage of Andamio for the maintainer retainer program. The contract is signed, so we're working on getting things rolling. But again, this is one of those cogs in the wheel, if you will.
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you for moving that forward.
All right. The last thing on here is project support services milestones. So I wanted to put this as somewhat of an open topic. I do understand that right now we are not actively putting contracts together, but I imagine or envision by next week or the week after that will be something that I resume doing. I believe we're quite outlined for the accelerator program. We discussed that last week, where we're going to use a majority of what was approved in their offering, but as office hours in collaboration with the Chin Strap. If I have that wrong, please shout now. The other program is Code for Us, which hinges upon the Get Honey tooling, which we should see set up here in the next couple of weeks as well. So that one should be relatively straightforward. So that leaves the only budget item that's not explicitly defined being the project support services. And I don't know if we want to do this. I wouldn't say privately. I don't know if somebody wants to share, and we're good to kind of just discuss this openly, or if we want to talk ideas, but somebody can scribe that down, or I will try my best. And not in the best position to describe, but I'll do everything I can. Just some ideas for what would be in that budget. Georg.
So have we had any projects reach out asking for any kind of support yet?
Other than through project incubation, no. So essentially, there's an opportunity where, excuse me, there's a.
I think Charlie 3 asked for some funds to some kind of consulting service around how to open sourcing some libraries and tooling, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, and the support service is not to provide funds for other people to do something. The project support services, as we envisioned it for the paid open source model, is to help establish good open source practices, bringing in the expertise of the open source committee, of the open source office, of vendors that the open source office may be working with, whether that is reviewing the metrics and using the Bitergia tools, whether it is establishing or reviewing, hey, here's what you're currently doing, here's what you should be doing to attract more people. Maybe a project can come to us and say, hey, I'm struggling keeping the contributors, the developers engaged that are coming to us. What is it in how I'm working and how I'm interacting with them that is driving them away? So the project support services are really to help with specific problems. That's how I always envisioned it. Maybe someone else has a different perspective on this. And so that's the reason I asked if anyone has come and said, hey, I have a problem with my project, I need help, is that would be an easy way to start in something to prototype and see if we can build out that service and then make it repeatable. In the absence of that, we need to discuss what is our target audience, who are the projects that can tap into these services, and then we can look at what kind of services they would benefit from so we can offer it to them. And maybe before we even define a service, it has to start with a conversation with these projects that are our target audience, whether those are Intersect projects, whether it's the broader Cardano ecosystem and projects in that ecosystem. So those are the thoughts that I have for how we get started with this.
Yeah, I just want to staple on as Georg was alluding. Let's get some definition in here for what exactly we want to do with this. This, as you can see, is relatively brief, and so we have a unique opportunity before things are contracted to define exactly what this is going to be spent on. I can pull up this catalog if that's going to be more helpful, right? There was the original ideas behind this as to what we would support. But I just want to make sure we have an open discussion, because if not, we may need to, again, return this to the Treasury and focus on what this category would include in a future budget cycle.
How much time do we have with the budget? Until the end of the year, right?
What's that? So the current budget cycle, some adjustments as was delivered in the 6-month update here. As we approach a year, we're going to start looking at returning funds that are not already promised under a program. So that's in that snippet. I believe it was shared in Discord and shared a couple other places. There's actually a whole document that I was drafting on it, but we only needed a few paragraphs.
So we have about
So-
6 months of the funds still available?
Basically, yes.
Okay. So I know we spent a lot of time building out the other programs and the governance around that and the procedures, processes, interviewing. We've done a lot. So if now we have more time on our hands, maybe we can have a conversation with the projects that we want to provide these services to and see what their needs are right now. And before we decide on where to spend money, that it is oriented towards improving the projects that we care about, that we service, so that we know it's effective whatever we're doing. Do we have a list of projects that are eligible for the support services, or do we need to define eligibility criteria?
Slide is quite out of date, so I apologize. I believe we would need to probably define a clear set of criteria in this case.
So maybe that is the first conversation you do, to have what are the projects that we want to have in scope for this. Then the nature of the service we had defined as complex and need specific. So before we know who those projects are, we can't define what the services would be. So we can start with defining who is in scope, who can ask for services. Then we can go do market analysis by interviewing the projects themselves and identify what their needs are. And then we have a list of things that we could be providing, and we know who would take advantage of them. That's my proposal. What do the other committee members think?
Agree.
Maybe.
I was looking for some more dialogue if there is any. If that's something where we need a separate session, we can put that together. But we've got 10 minutes left. There's nothing else on the agenda unless somebody has something pressing. I was kind of hoping maybe we could iron some of that out here, or somebody could kind of pick this up to champion some preparation for this.
Sorry, I raised hand, but yeah, first we can talk on this one. I needed a couple of minutes possibly to update few things. Sorry, Tex, you want to discuss this part more in detail? We can do first that, and then I can report. Talk.
Does anybody else have anything? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, who do we want to service? Are these Intersect only projects? We want these services to be available to the broader ecosystem, not just the Intersect hosted projects. I think that is the first question you need to answer. And I'm going to propose that we open this up, because the Intersect hosted projects themselves, that's a very limited group, and we want to service the entire ecosystem. So if someone from outside the ecosystem, or no, if someone outside Intersect within the Cardano ecosystem is seeking advice and support, I would love to support that and be a good citizen in the Cardano ecosystem. That is my proposal. Is there any problem with going that route? Does anyone see any concern with opening this up? And we are very, very clear, this is not a pot of money for people to put their hands in and take money out for things. This is, they come to us with a very specific problem that is open source related, or running the project in an open source way, or a license, or something open source related, where we say, we have the expertise, we have the knowledge, we have the contacts, we can help you with that open source related issue. And by doing that in all of the Cardano ecosystem, we can help promote open source practices. Are there any problems with opening it up outside of Intersect?
That's the idea, right? This being open for, in general, projects around the ecosystem. Not only Intersect related. All depends on the potential of the project.
Yeah,
Or
not
not,
sure
right? Sorry,
what
go
does
ahead.
it mean. Yeah, I'm not sure what does it mean intersect or outside, but I mean it's definitely related to Cardano and from the ecosystem at wider level, right? And yeah, they assuming that they're a member of the Intersect anyway, but you know, I think anything related to Cardano should qualify for this.
Jordan.
Yeah. So the Catalyst open source categories took a hit last round for funding um, with a reduced budget. So I would at least like to highlight Catalyst projects that failed to receive funding. I know this has been a topic of discussion, but I'd like to have those projects have opportunity to learn about our open source committee and potentially be supported by them. And if we need to highlight that, that might be helpful.
Yeah, we should talk with them and see what they currently need and how we can provide the service. That's a good idea, Jordan.
Yeah, it's a very good point, and I think partly we are doing in terms of internal retainer to tooling to this part. I think this project support is probably not so best example of the open source developer category, but the point I think Jordan you make about that replacement of Project Catalyst, they pretty much thought, okay, anything to done with open source or developer tooling, that let it happen under Intersect. That doesn't come in Catalyst. So, and most likely that's going to continue the thinking, though we know that Catalyst is going to change probably in coming few months time, but most likely that thinking or feeling will be there. So we need to have more mechanism to support the developers tools or tooling and the various open source initiative to Intersect. And I think in Intersect, anything to do with open source, we are better placed. As we talked in other case earlier with Musa, that yeah, projects could be taken over by some other committees is fine because that's related to them, but in those kind of the cases we can provide the project support, right? But if those are directly develop a tool or core repository, etc., we can chip in there and as an OSC. So but nevertheless, I think yeah, that vacuum need to be filled. Now we have a bigger part to play the role.
Thank you, Uday. Bernard, I was thinking to call on you because you've been on the front lines of as a developer advocate and helping bring developers into Cardano, and I assume you've seen a lot of the projects and what they need I just want to get your perspective on who do you think should be in scope for receiving services from the committee and the open source office?
So you are referring to Catalyst projects that I know, or it is not related to the Catalyst project?
I wanted to hear your opinion. Do we start with Catalyst? Do we make it more open? Do we include anyone that is somehow related to Cardano? What is your opinion on what projects we should support?
I think we have a lot of projects that are training and also that are developing tools on the open source. But some of these projects that I have seen, for example, Helios. Helios is a very interesting Cardano smart contract language, which from one source code, you're able to produce on-chain, off-chain, and then you quickly hook it onto the front end and develop effectively. I've been with them. They've been requesting support here and there. And then now, Christian Smith, I think, is one of the committees on the technical side. But I went to them and they said if they really need, because there is now a Cardano open source, this a paid open source model. So I went to them and I posted and said there is a now Intersect open source, a paid model. I feel that project, just like ICANN, just like all these other very essential tooling that makes life very easy for developers to also benefit from this Intersect. I didn't get a reply, probably because Christian is the owner of the project. Maybe he has got some other or options. But on our side, we are using Helios. We have been using Helios for 2 years. I have been using it to create Coxie Wallet, Coxie Lib, CLI. I felt that is one project that must not be missed by the Catalyst. By the Intersect open source paid model. I don't have other information, but Christian, I think, is on the technical committee there, can try to find out. From my side, with my students, we need that tool. The other tool that we badly need Intersect to assist, get it going. Even today, I was talking to the students. It is the Bluetooth playground. So that is the two things that were in my heart a lot.
Awesome, thank you. I want to recognize that we are at time. So
Okay.
I want to build on those two things. Jordan and Bernard, you both identified specific projects that could benefit from support services. Text shared in the chat the open source project support services interest form. I'm curious if either of you has time to go and talk to these projects, whether it's Helios or the Catalyst project, and say, hey, we have these services that we are thinking about providing. How are you doing? Is any of this interesting? Because then that would be a starting point for us to get feedback on what these projects actually need. And I think it is not a process problem right now. Right now we have a market fit problem. And the only way we can solve that is by actually talking to the projects that have the potential need. So that is my opinion. Bernard, I see you nodding your head. If you can talk with Helios and see what they...
I will.
Thank you. Yeah. And then
Thank you.
Tex, if you can take the recording and ask AI to create eligibility criteria. Maybe that's already on the form. I haven't read it. If it's already in there, then we don't need to do anything. Just to make sure it is clear, this is open to all projects in the Cardano space and not just Intersect projects. With that, I know we are out of time. Any last words, anyone?
From my side, it's just to apologize for coming late. I worked the whole night, then I fell asleep 3 hours. Then
Yeah,
I just
no,
woke up late.
I'm
I'm
glad
sorry
you're
for that.
here. Thank you
I'm
for
sorry
coming.
for that. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for coming. No worries at all. Tex, do we need anything else?
I think Uday said something about updates. I don't know if that was committee-wide or public, or if that was something personal that we can handle offline.
Very quickly, one or two small one. One in a steering committee, there was a discussion about the tool where it related to all the committee members to kind of fill the details about the work done, right? So that tool is coming up, I understand, very soon. So it's a heads up, really, because you possibly understand that 50% of the amount as a reward is supposed to come anyway, but when you attend the regular meetings, but for rest of the 50%, you need to write, what has been done specifically, contribution point of view. That apply to members, chair, vice chair, everyone. So that they said they're kind of coming up with the tool, which will be launched soon, possibly in a month or so. So that's one update from ISC. And I think the budget guidelines and all those things are also being worked upon. So that I think will be very helpful for us to work on budget. And the last thing, which I just came from one initiative from MCC, they're suggesting to work together on a hackathon in India-wide hackathon physically, but then they're also proposing that it will be international, because online there will be other locations included. There's something that's initial stage, but I just thought to keep you, give you a heads up on that as well, because our developer advocates and I think some committee members should be participating in that eventually if it is happening. But that initiative is being taken by the MCC as of now, just to keep you updated.
Awesome. Thank you for the update. I think we're through our agenda today. Sorry for going a little bit over time. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here. I'll see you in the Discord. And please make
And
sure
the
you
budget
check.
call tomorrow.
Yep, the budget call tomorrow. Yes, check the Discord at least every other day, like we talked about, so that we can keep moving the conversations and moving that forward. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you, Tex, for putting together the agenda, and I appreciate your service, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Okay, bye-bye.
Thanks, all right.
Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Bye.